Hi everyone, so today we're going to find the zeros of a polynomial using synthetic division. So here we have a polynomial and we want to write the polynomial in factored form, and then we're going to go ahead and find the zeros. So we're going to use the zero product property in order to help us to find the zeros of the polynomial. So what we're going to do is, first off, we're going to go ahead and take that polynomial and we're going to do synthetic division. And because we are missing the x to the third power and then the x, we're going to go ahead and fill in zeros for the missing coefficients. So what we're also going to do is we're going to take the divisor and we're going to find its 0 and put it on the outside. So we're going to take that -2. And remember, we're going to drop and add down, and then we'll drop that 1 first, and then we're going to multiply using that -2. So we're going to multiply diagonally, and then we're going to add going down, multiply diagonally, and then add going down, and then multiply diagonally, add going down, and then the same thing, multiply diagonally, and then add going down. Now, remember that if we are given one of the factors, that means when we do synthetic division, the remainder has to be 0. And because we are dividing, we're going to drop down a degree, so those are our coefficients of our answer. And so when we write this out, we have 4 terms and we have a cubic. So now what we can go ahead and see is we can go ahead and look at that cubic polynomial, and we can go ahead and factor by grouping. So I'm going to take my first 2 terms and then group them together in my first row, and take the second 2 terms and then place them in the bottom 2. We're going to find the GCF and we're going to place it on the outside on the left. And then we can go ahead and figure out what goes on the top. So we have x squared minus 7, and then we have x minus 2. And then don't forget that we still have that factor that was given to us. That's our freebie that's given to us at the beginning of the problem. So we do want to include that. So we're writing our polynomial in factored form. So this is as factored as we can get. But then we're going to go ahead and find our zeros. So we're going to use that zero product property, and we're going to find the solutions. Remember, zeros are the same thing as solutions. So with my first x plus 2 factor, I've got x is equal to -2. The x squared minus 7, when I set it equal to 0, and I add 7 to the other side, take the square root of it. I'm going to have the square root of 7, cannot break that down. And then remember, anytime you solve a quadratic, you're going to go ahead and always include that plus or minus. And then with the x minus 2 factor at the end, I'm going to have an answer of x is equal to 2. Okay, here's another example. We have a polynomial. We're given one of the zeros now. So remember that when we are given a 0, right, instead of having to find the 0 from the factor, we're going to take this 1 and we're just going to put it as it is right on the left of our synthetic division box. We don't have any missing coefficients. We're going to drop down, add down that 1 there, multiply, and then add vertically. And we're going to continue this process until we figure out all the way to the end. And then we see that our remainder is 0, as it should be. So if you don't get a remainder of 0 here when you do synthetic division, you got to go back and double check maybe that we didn't forget a sign or a negative somewhere, or that we multiplied or added incorrectly. So that is your way of double checking. So now the 1, -4, and the 5 are going to be the coefficients of your answer. Remember that we dropped down a degree, so we started off with x to the third, and we're going to get x squared. Now we look at this trinomial and we see that, hey, it's a quadratic. Am I able to use my box or use my split the middle, whatever way that you know how to factor? I can actually see, all right, when I read this in factored form, I actually cannot use the box. I cannot factor my yellow anymore. So when I want to find the zeros, I got to go ahead and take that quadratic, and I have to set it equal to 0, and then I'm going to have to use my quadratic formula. Now, something to be very mindful of is that when your b value here is -4, we want to make sure that we put that in parentheses as we plug it into our calculator. Now, as we simplify the radicand, what you're going to get is -4. Now, remember, simplify your radical first, so that's going to get us 2i, because of taking the square root of a negative. And then after you simplify, you're going to go ahead and simplify the overall fraction. So the 4 and the 2 are divisible, and you're going to get 2 plus or minus I. Now remember that the 0, that freebie that you were given at the beginning of your problem, we're going to go ahead and take that and just write it as it is, because that's still technically a 0 or a solution of your polynomial. Now here are some things for you to remember. If you're given a 0, or even if you're given a factor of a polynomial, then the remainder after you do synthetic division has to be 0. That is your way of being able to double check yourself. Now the other thing that you want to keep in mind is you want to always check to see if the number of solutions, or the zeros that you're trying to find at the very end, matches the degree of the polynomial. Now that degree is going to help you to double check and see if you actually found all the solutions and have all the solutions that you needed. I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.